Hello, hello, all, and welcome to the Women of Light. We are with the fabulous Tina Woods from Talia Coaching. She's straight out the UK, and honey, when I tell you she's got stuff to tell you, she's got stuff to teach you. She has the answers to help you get through where you're stuck. She has years of experience, and I'm going to turn the floor over to her because this is the person that you got. Like, she drew me in the very first time I ever heard her. So she was the first person that I brought onto the summit, and I'm so happy and so proud to have her here. Talia, take it.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I'm super excited. I think it's really important that we come together as women and share our knowledge. And for me, something that I wasn't aware of is that we are not broken. We are incredibly whole, amazing, powerful human beings. And because of childhood trauma and because of my lived experiences and programming and the beliefs that I had, I always felt like I was broken, that I was a victim, that I was behind in life, and I couldn't achieve what everyone else could achieve. And I went down the traditional routes of counseling and therapy, and that didn't work for me. So I put all of that blame on me, that I was bad, I was wrong, I was broken. So my mission, now that I've retrained as a somatic trauma informed coach and a narcissistic abuse specialist and a mental well-being practitioner, is I want everybody to know that we are whole. We are whole sovereign beings, and we are powerful, and we are amazing. The way I work is bottom up. So not talking therapy, not in your head, working at a nervous system level, working deep in the body, bringing up everything that you've been holding in what I call your trauma backpack, all of those
Mhm.
old experiences that are really heavy, that you carry around all the time as a woman, that leads to things like burnout, anxiety, depression, numbing out, addictions, people pleasing, procrastination, perfectionism. All of these things we hold on to, and it makes us really poorly. So I want everybody to know that we can work at a nervous system level to really start to heal our bodies, to work through and feel our feelings, and then start to
Yes.
really advocate for ourselves as
Yes.
powerful, whole, sovereign women.
That is beautiful. I
Thanks.
love what you do, and I'm not happy that you went through a lived experience of it, but at the same time, I think that's what makes us who we are. This summit is so special to me. And so I am very particular about everyone that I'm bringing into this because
Mhm.
I want help, value, empowerment, everything from the gate. And you were special to me because I saw you in a different summit and I saw your presentation. And it was the thing that really made me awake and wake up to how many women out here really don't have a voice. They really don't know how to advocate for themselves.
Mhm.
What is a common thing that you see that you identify I immediately that this person could benefit from your specific uh, craft and gift?
Usually what I see is a sense of unhealed codependency. So a woman who is just doing it all, and she is putting everyone else before herself. So she overgives at work, she overgives with her friends, she overgives in her family, and she is absolutely drained and exhausted. And then when I say, "What do you need? What's going to help you?" and
Mhm.
she doesn't know, because she's never really been allowed to advocate for her needs. She doesn't think her needs matter, and she can't really express who she is at her very core, because the
Oh,
self
wow.
abandonment has gone so deep. And especially when there's been narcissistic abuse in a romantic relationship or a marriage, that
Mhm.
person has completely taken over, and she's completely lost her sense of self. So it is that lack of real sovereignty that I can
Hmm.
tell very early on from talking to a woman that she would really benefit from coming
Hmm.
back into understanding who she truly is, having a deep sense of self love and self respect and self worth, and building up from there.
Okay. So, what are some of the things that people will should look forward to and will take away from you, and how do they find you? How do they connect to you? Um, Especially when they have fear,
Yeah.
a lot of fear. Like, how do they get past that fear and really reach out to you and connect to you?
Yeah, I see that a lot. I see a lot of fear. Pretty much all of my clients have got some kind of PTSD or complex CPTSD, and they haven't been able to speak out. They're very, very fearful. Some of them actually don't want to go on camera.
Hmm.
Luckily, I am seen as a safe space, so I do get a lot of messages, and people do open up to me because I'm an empath. So that's, that is an honor, and I do take it really seriously
Yes.
that I can hold that space for people. And
Yes.
I completely believe that's my purpose. That is why I'm on the universe. I've reincarnated at this time to be a light worker and a safe space for women. And so
Hmm.
it's really important for me that when people reach out to me, that I am trauma informed. I'm
Hmm.
narcissistic abuse recovery specialist, and I work at a nervous system level. So I will never have a conversation where I immediately want to jump into trauma or do or say anything that's going to re-traumatize anybody. Everything is really titrated at a nervous system level. As you saw at the other summit when I was in, I start with let's breathe, let's ground, let's come
Hmm.
into the space, let's drop into our body. And then once people feel safe, that's when we can really start to open up and do the work. So for me, I have professional women who just have so much going on, and they've got very long to-do lists, and they're incredibly successful, and they're amazing women, and they are doing everything, and they're in a rush. And the biggest thing that I say is let's stop, let's pause,
Okay.
let's slow down. I promise you I will get you there, but if we rush, we're going to not have the capacity in your nervous system. So for me, safety looks like taking it slowly, absolutely zero judgment, being
Hmm.
trauma informed, and working in a titrated way at a nervous system level so that people can really safely start to explore their sensations in their body.
Okay. Okay. That's beautiful.
Hmm.
So, take us through like a quick onboarding.
Yeah, so in terms of somatic trauma informed coaching, what I like to share with people is information. Yes, absolutely. It's really important to have information and education around the nervous system. But what I love to do, and you can see I'm very physical and I move energy, I'm a Reiki practitioner and an energy healer, and I do embodiment work, is let's integrate it. I don't want people to leave the session with a ton of notes that go nowhere and they don't know what to do.
Hmm.
There will be
Hmm.
practices and tips and tricks, and you can ask
Nice.
me anything. I'm an open book. So I want you to come
Nice.
out with some bilateral stimulation. I want you to understand how to come out of freeze when you're feeling really shut down and when you feel stuck in the past. I want to help you immediately identify anxiety and come out of the future, get settled in the present, and really start to connect with your body in a loving way with no shame or judgment as to what's coming up, with an understanding that emotion is just energy in motion. And let's use all of that beautiful energy to alchemize any kind of pain into a transformation of power. And I want people to come in maybe with some questions, maybe feeling like they've got stuff going on in their body, and come out feeling really empowered that they know how to then start to work with their body to access transformation.
Okay. Beautiful. That's awesome. I know people are so excited when they like finally link with you one on one. I would be like, it's just like, oh my God, I have somebody with this much energy and as I do, but in a different way, and they can help me calm down. Like, that's so cool. Like, how did you start this?
I started this by having a lifetime of trauma, and I kept burning out and getting into addictions and negative habits. And essentially, my whole life came crashing down. I hadn't dealt with my childhood trauma, and I had built a life, an external life that looked perfect on the outside. But inside, I wasn't doing very well, and I was really quite poorly. And it was when my 17-year relationship, my marriage with my lovely husband, broke down because just the dysfunction, within our relationship, when that ended, and we moved on. I lost my husband, I lost my house. During the events of 2020, I'd lost stable employment. I was freelancing, and for the first time, I was really, really, really 100% on my own. And I
Mhm.
knew that I was struggling. And then I got into a narcissistically abusive situationship, which absolutely just showed me to the core all of the core wounds and childhood experiences that I hadn't closed off, and just how vulnerable I was because I hadn't done my work. And I completely had not a mental breakdown, but very close. I hit my rock bottom, and I
Oh,
prayed
wow.
one day and I said, I don't feel like I can go on anymore, but obviously I don't want to stop. What can I do? And I had divine inspiration. And through that divine inspiration, I realized that I was on my own. No one was coming to rescue me. I had to figure it out. I knew what hadn't worked before. So I had to figure out a different way. And I leaned into energy work. And then I went through a healing program with Caroline Strawson. And in that healing program, I then did the very, very top level certification, CPD, CCE, of somatic trauma informed coaching, then narcissistic abuse, then hypnotherapy. And the more I learned, I realized everybody needs to know this. Every woman should have this level of information and access to healing modalities, and it would be
Mhm.
selfish of me to gatekeep this. So my 25-year career in advertising, which had been my world, suddenly took a back seat, and all of a
Wow.
sudden was like, how do I bring energy healing, toxic
Mhm.
relationship healing, codependency healing, addiction healing? How do I wrap all of this up in a mind, body, soul approach and bring
Mhm.
this to women in a really accessible way? And Sovereign Souls was born. So it was a
Oh,
spiritual download and a channeling that drove me forward onto a path that I had no intention of following, I didn't know
okay.
existed. And just
Okay.
suddenly I came into my purpose, and I was like, okay, this is what we're doing now. And it's been amazing.
I'm sure. And you see it, you're so happy. Like you're so happy doing this. And I love to see that in any entrepreneur, because many are just so bogged down and so overwhelmed with, am I doing this right? Is this where I'm supposed to be? Is this, and they may be making money, but they're not fulfilling themselves.
Yeah, that's so
And it's a
important.
struggle.
It is, because we don't know our higher purpose. And so what we do is we fill up that hole in our soul with
Mm-hmm,
external
mm-hmm,
things. So I was married,
mm-hmm.
I had a house, I was traveling the world, I was a business director at famous global ad agencies. I was, slim and glamorous and doing all the things, and I looked like I had the life of my dreams. And inside, I was like, this doesn't feel right. Is this all there
Mm-hmm,
is? And
mm-hmm,
I was deeply, deeply unhappy, and so I was
mm-hmm.
masking, and that you can't mask forever with external things. So I think people think, if I just get that one promotion, if I get that one
Mm-hmm.
boyfriend, if I get married, if I have kids, if I do this, if I do that, but it comes from within. And until you do that inner work, then everything else it's just external noise. It's not going to fill you up. The filling
Okay.
up comes from knowing you are whole and healthy and happy regardless of what's going on around you, and then everything else is just an amazing cherry on top.
Okay. Okay. Well, I appreciate your time.
Oh, thank you.
We have weather here. Hold on, I'm gonna stop.